Hmm? You're not stealing it. Just put $1 over here.
Brown.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course. Consider it killed. Turn it off. This one I turn off. Yep, it's off. I'm ready when you are. Nice crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call to order the regular city commission meeting for October 3rd, 2023 at 7 p.m. Can we please have roll call?
Commissioner Drosky,
Here.
Commissioner Hudak,
Here.
Commissioner Preston,
Here.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Here.
Mayor Gans.
Here. If we could all stand for a moment of silence and our pledge of allegiance. And while we do, if we could please keep in our thoughts, the former person who ran the Riverview Restaurant in Deerfield Beach, Bill Stewart, who passed away last week. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have approval of the regular city commission meeting minutes of September 5th and the special city commission meeting minutes of August 22nd.
So moved.
Second. Motion by the vice mayor, seconded by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Our acknowledgement of our city board meeting minutes for our firefighters pension fund meeting minutes of June 5th, 2023. Our planning and zoning board meeting minutes of July 6th, 2023. Cultural committee meeting minutes of July 17th and August 21st, 2023. Education advisory board meeting minutes of August 2nd. Code compliance meeting minutes of August 7th. And Hillsborough Inlet District meeting minutes for August 28th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion by the vice mayor, second by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And we have approval of our agenda tonight for October 3rd, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Preston, seconded by Vice Mayor Parnas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk.
For those attending via Zoom online, wishing to speak under public comment or on an item that's open for public input, please click raise hand at the bottom under the reactions tab and your audio will be unmuted when you're recognized by Mayor Gans. For those attending via Zoom by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand and your audio will be unmuted when you are recognized by Mayor Gans. Please make sure your audio is unmuted on your end by pressing *6. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are in the record books thanks to this next individual. On September 2nd, 2023, our ocean rescue lifeguard, Brittany Sullivan Callie, broke the Guinness World Record by completing the greatest number of burpees, 841 in an hour. But she didn't stop there. Brittany then went on to break a second world record by completing 3,464 burpees in 8 hours. She did that with not eating Mexican food at all. We are extremely proud of our elite ocean rescue lifeguard, and especially this one, who is the best in the world at one of the most universal and difficult fitness exercises known, and you can be assured that she's continuing to keep our beach and community safe. It is an incredible accomplishment, and we would like to congratulate Brittany on this remarkable accomplishment. Brittany?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I physically hurt just thinking of that.
I know that's right.
Our next proclamation that we have, the Florida City Government Week, sponsored by our Florida League of Cities, is a week-long celebration that raises awareness about the importance of municipal government and its daily impact on its residents. The city of Deerfield Beach encourages all of our citizens, city government officials, and employees to participate in events that recognize and celebrate Florida's City Government Week. And October 18th and the 19th, the city will host Student Government Day, in which elementary school, middle school, and high school students will learn about the services the city provides to its residents. On Saturday, October 14th, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. during the Fall Festival at Pioneer Park, each city department will be represented with exhibits, displays, and information to educate our residents about the department's contributions to the city. Because city government is the government closest to the most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents, it's important that residents understand how their city operates, the services it provides, and the importance of their actions and activity and active involvement. Now, therefore, I, Bill Gantz, the mayor of the city of Deerfield Beach in Florida, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim October 16th through the 22nd, 2023 as Florida Government Week. Jonathan Salas, I know you're here tonight. Accept this. We're going to bring up Chief Hofstein for our next item, please.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, distinguished commissioners, Mr. City Manager, and Deerfield Beach community. It's always an honor and a privilege. I appreciate it to come up here and recognize some of the fantastic work that our team is doing, and also to highlight some of the great initiatives and projects that we're undertaking here in the city to make this community safer and a better place and more hospitable for our residents and our visitors. Gentlemen, if you'll please come on up. They've been waiting for their cue. The train line here. These are the distinguished members of our district's behavioral response and crime prevention team, which I'm proud to introduce. This is Deputy Budney, Deputy Kajiga, Detective Cologne, Behavioral Specialist Daniel Gelpi. This is Deputy Mayor, Deputy Padron, Sergeant Patton, and Deputy Ryba. So I'm proud for a couple reasons, not just because of the hard work they do individually, but what they do collectively as a team. And that's the key word, that they're part of a team, and they're very unique to this city. So in 2022, the federal government and the President of the United States passed a bipartisan bill, the Law Enforcement De-Escalation Act. And this De-Escalation Act, as everyone's familiar with that term, you know, we face a lot of contemporary challenges here in law enforcement. And one of those is, how do we effectively deal with behavioral and mental health issues in a way that does more good than it does harm to the people that we're trying to help? And that's one important component of the De-Escalation Act. So 4 components of that included de-escalation and finding alternatives to using force, especially deadly force, how to safely respond to people in crisis, and developing strategies for successful crisis intervention. Last but not least is finding those community-based support services and partners. So I'm very proud to say that our agency and our city led the way. Even prior to this act being officially passed, this team was actually formed within the months prior to that bill. And they are unique to our city. We are the only contract city in BSO out of that's over 17 that actually has a team dedicated to this. The Sheriff's Office also took the initiative to create what we call the co-responder program. So an important element to that is embedding a behavioral health clinician, that's Daniel here in the tie, in with our troops, if you will, with the sworn personnel on the ground to more effectively respond to these folks in crisis and bringing that attribute right real time. So instead of law enforcement responding and doing follow-up later with the behavioral health specialist, they're now embedded together as a team. So we're proud that not only did the agency lead the way with forming that co-responder program, which was piloted here in Deerfield Beach very successfully, but we also, thanks to the city's support, formed our own behavioral response team. So these individuals were selected not just because they're great police officers, but they're great human beings. It's the compassion and passion that they bring to this specialized kind of work where we go above and beyond just arresting bad guys, which of course is important. We got to keep our streets safe. But how do we deal with the increasing challenges of folks in mental health crisis? Just to give you a snapshot, if I may, within the time this unit was formed, it's going on a year now, they have dealt with 847 involuntary commissions, if you will, to a mental health facility or specialist. So these are folks that were in crisis that required an involuntary, if you will, submission into a program, also known as a Baker Act. And I can stand here and tell you that all 847 of those cases were done safely and without incident. And what differs with this model than we've done traditionally in the past is it's not just a police officer who was multitasking, who has other calls to respond to, going out there and putting a Band-Aid on a problem or displacing a problem. They brought, for all 847 of these cases, a more holistic approach. So we don't just simply put these people into this involuntary program, we follow up and we work hand in hand with important community partners to ensure that this follow-up is conducted. And I can tell you it's made our city a much safer place across a broad spectrum. In addition to these, they've completed what we call 29 red flag or RPOs. You may be familiar with the term red flag, but these were 29 very dangerous individuals that they had to go out and intervene and deal in a situation where there was a threat to the community at large. They've attended dozens of community and HOA meetings. They've enrolled or re-enrolled 108 businesses within our trespassing program, which empowers law enforcement, as you know, to more effectively deal with quality of life issues and trespassers throughout businesses and private communities. They've worked hand in hand with our city partners, and it's important to recognize the team is not just BSO, the team is also our city. 103 city code and nuisance cases. If I can just give you some examples here. During the course of these duties, they've also encountered 217 indigent folks throughout our city, some who are legitimately homeless, some who may actually choose to be homeless due to behavioral health or mental health reasons. Over 32% of these individuals were steered into a successful program or some type of rehabilitation or mental health court or the judicial system if it was necessary for the safety of our community. They've partnered with county and state programs, including South Florida Wellness Network, Task Force Ending Homelessness, BARC, Operated Sacred Trust, and most importantly, Henderson Behavioral Health. They've initiated 9 projects throughout the city to combat nuisance abatement that they're working with the city regularly to improve urban blight throughout our community. They also conduct regular patrols of our community parks and places where our citizens and our families congregate to intercede, if you will, or interdict these indigent problems and this homelessness, to find these folks, to get them the help, and also to reduce that blight throughout our community. I'm just going to give you some final examples here of the type of quality. It's not just quantitative. It's not just numbers. Here are some examples. We had a resident who was dealing with issues of alcoholism, depression, hoarding, and conflicts with neighbors. Keyword, conflicts with neighbors. These behavioral health issues in our community, which led to many hospitalizations and arrests. She was stuck in a revolving door. This team worked with her, and right now she's maintained her sobriety and continues to receive treatment through a halfway house. She actually ended up voluntarily selling her house in Deerfield Beach, but is looking forward to a quality of life elsewhere that she could not have here due to a number of factors. They also dealt with an individual, and this happens very often, who was displaying erratic behaviors that were actually frightening the residents of his community. This risk protection order, as we call the RPO, was approved through the courts. And during their intervention with this individual, 19 firearms and over 25,000 rounds of ammunition were removed from this individual's house that was posing a threat in his community. They've dealt with multiple individuals who have abused our 911 system, resulting in hundreds of false calls to 911, which, as you can be aware, diverts needed attention and resources from other residents throughout the community and poses a danger. They worked with all these individuals, and both individuals in our two most prolific cases have ceased abusing the system and are receiving the help and intervention they need. So again, these are just a few of the examples. I could stand up here, as you know, for hours and tell you all the amazing things that they're doing to make this city a safer place. But I appreciate the opportunity to present this snapshot and for their cumulative efforts and the fantastic work that they do every day for this city. It's my distinct honor to present them with Deputies of the Month for September 2023.
Yeah. How does somebody get the link to get on? Go to the city website.
I lost me. There we are.
Commissioner Drosky, I apologize. I saw your light was on after the second item. Did you want to make a comment?
I just have these hard to get suitable for framing stickers for Florida Government Week. So I'm not sure who I can give these to, but maybe it's something for the fall festival that we can give out to celebrate municipal weeks. Mr. Salas, come on down.
Thank you, Commissioner. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor. We are now at quasi judicial public hearings. Item number 4 tonight is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, considering a major site plan modification application from Pathway Ventures Limited to demolish an existing commercial building and construct an approximately 19,432 square foot Aldi grocery store and related site improvements at the property located at 2301 West Sample Road, Deerfield Beach, Florida, and the intense commercial business B3C zoning district, application number 15-B3C-22, revision 2, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date. The property owner is represented by counsel tonight. Ms. Knappich of the Gunster Law Firm is here to speak on behalf of the applicant. And Ms. Knappich, when you get up and state your name and address for the record, if you could just let us know whether you choose to waive the more formal quasi judicial proceeding or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Heidi Davis with the law firm of Gunster, here tonight on behalf of Pathway Ventures Limited, the owner of the property at 2301 West Sample Road, to present the site plan for Aldi's grocery store. Yes, I do wait. With me tonight is Frank Youngman of Thomas Engineering, who, if you have any questions with regard to the site plan, he can answer. I'm also going to introduce my new associate, Sarah Reynolds. She just started 2 weeks ago with Gunster. This is her first public hearing. So hopefully we can make her feel welcome tonight. So thanks for coming, Sarah. Thank you. The property is located at the northwest corner of Sample Road and Power Line, just west of the Wawa, and is part of a 17.2 acre master development plan consisting of large commercial, office and retail buildings, as well as the Wawa, Wendy's, and La Colonia. The property maintains a Broward County zoning designation of B3C. It's an intense commercial district from when the city annexed the property from Broward County. The property has a commercial land use designation and is surrounded by industrial and heavy commercial uses. There are no residential uses surrounding the area or even near the property, and it is surrounded by multiple municipalities, including Pompano Beach to the south and Broward County to the north. Next slide. The subject parcel is for the Aldi's grocery store is 1.9 acres and is located at the southwest corner of that larger tract. The parcel currently has approximately 26,000 square feet structure on the property, and it's used primarily for commercial, retail, and office uses. Aldi's will be 19,420 square feet, and it'll be a smaller footprint from what is there today. Grocery stores are permitted as permitted uses within the zoning district. Next slide, please. The subject parcel is currently improved with a long one-story building which fronts Sample Road approximately 265 feet long. This structure will be completely demolished to incorporate the new site plan. Next slide, please. The site plan consists of a one-story, 19,420 square foot Aldi's grocery store with surface parking. The site plan complies with all the requirements of the Land Development Code and contains the required 105 parking spaces. The maximum height of the structure is 28 feet, 10 inches, and the design of the site provides safe vehicular and pedestrian circulation. The loading and service area is located at the rear on the north side, and it has been recessed and completely screened to be seen, so it's not so visible from any street. Next. The project is designed in a contemporary style with simple and clean lines. A prominent entrance feature on the corner is emphasized with a sloping tower comprised of bright silver aluminum composite panel. Large windows and doors are present along the east and south elevations, activating the elevations and increasing the natural light into the store. A neutral color palette was selected to enhance the variety of the materials being used, including metals, wood fiber cement siding, and cultured stone. All facades of the building are well articulated, providing visual variety and interest. Next. With each elevation, architectural features are incorporated, including an architectural masonry veneer water table and stucco field that wraps the entire of the building. Next. All mechanical equipment has been screened with architectural features, which creates dynamic roof variations. Next. This is just of all the different elevations and the materials that are included. Next. And the project is designed with beautiful landscaping surrounding the property, including shade trees and flowering trees and palms. The property actually has two layers of landscaping, one that surrounds the building and one that surrounds the parcel, which creates a beautiful and welcoming environment. The property maintains large setbacks from the road, from the right of way, and the grocery store only has a 23.4% lot coverage. So we're excited that to present this Aldi's to you tonight and to continue that activation along this important corridor of the city. The project meets and exceeds the evaluation criteria set forth in the code. And we appreciate the opportunity to present tonight. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Commissioner Preston?
I do have a question. As you were constructing the site plan, was there any consideration or any challenges, I should say, with traffic? Is everything that you're doing, is it compatible with the flow of traffic now?
Yes, it is. If you want to go back to that slide, which is the site plan slide. I don't know what number it was, and I'll show you what we're doing here. Yeah, number 5. Thank you. All right, so currently, there is and maybe Frank, if you know more about this also, but the circulation that goes around, everything was compatible with moving the trucks in, moving the vehicles in around the property. And what we're doing, instead of having a right and in, right out and left out across the median, FDOT has asked us to create what they call, I think it's called a peanut. It's a peanut in the median, which does not allow cars to cross the median anymore. So they have to go out right. So it's only a right in and a right out from that west location. Otherwise, they have to go up to the light, which is over by the Wendy's. There's a light over there, right? Is that correct? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, there
okay,
is.
thank you. I knew that right there. So yes, we've made it a safer vehicular access points at that location and the circulation around the site.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there anyone from the public who would care to comment on this item? Anyone online? Ms. Freitag?
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast Second Street. With the one exception that my hairdresser has been in that building for approximately 8 years now. She will have to move and locate. I will say the builder has given the owners of those businesses plenty of time to relocate. They're not having to be out until August of next year when their lease is up. So I do appreciate the builder taking the time to give them time to relocate their businesses. And I think the addition of Aldi's right there at that location is going to be a great asset to all of the people in Crystal Lake in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? I'm going to close it to the public. Commissioner Grosky.
Thank you, Mayor. For Sarah's sake, I was hoping to have some tough questions for you, Heidi, but it's a permitted use. You have no variances. There's ample setbacks and landscaping, so it's going to be a dull show, unfortunately.
Sorry,
I'll make a motion
Commissioner.
to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Grosky, seconded by Vice Mayor Parnas. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Item number 5 is a resolution of the City Commission, of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, considering the plat application submitted by Espen Realty, Inc. to amend the plat note for the Hillsborough Food Bazaar Plaza plat to provide for no development on parcel B for the 0.935 acre site located at 190 West Hillsborough Boulevard within the B1 Business Community Zoning District. Application number 23-P-235, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. My understanding is that Mr. Espinal is here on behalf of the property to present. And Mr. Espinal, you may have heard my request before. If you could just let us know, you are entitled to a more formal quasi judicial proceeding if you so choose, swearing in witnesses, et cetera. If you could indicate on the record whether you choose to waive that formal proceeding or not.
Waive it.
Go right ahead, sir.
Good evening, good evening. So I'm here today to present an amendment to the 12,000 square foot commercial use to no development on parcel B of the 202 West Hillsborough Boulevard, Food Bazaar Plaza plat. The reason for my request is to make it look more pleasing to maybe a future investors, as some of you board members know that we're in the grocery business and not in the commercial real estate business. So I'm here to see if you guys I get an approval for that.
City Clerk, did you have a question or comments? Sorry.
Pursuant to ordinance 2009-006, the City of Deerfield Beach Code of Ethics, the applicant, Juan Espinal, made the following campaign contribution. Commissioner Ben Preston, $1,000 on January 18th, 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff, do we have any comments on this?
Just that, and thank you, Mayor Dave Santucci, City Manager. The item obviously at its face value looks like it's going from the potential development to no development, but as gentleman explained, the reason for this request is he does have, I believe, a deposit held up with the county on this plat, in which getting this designation will remove that and allow somebody else to basically start from scratch on this property.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you, staff. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? We close it to the public. Commission.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Preston, second by Vice Mayor Parnas. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Item number 6 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, considering a major site plan application from LGL Realty Limited to improve the current site conditions and construct a new 1,990 square foot trailer style building, a 324 square foot masonry building, an 8,324 square foot barn style open structure, a 339 square foot canopy, and a 5,688 square foot future canopy expansion of the open structure barn at the property located at 1811, 1815 South Powerline Road, Deerfield Beach, Florida. Application number 22-I2-08 for providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date. I believe we have a representative on behalf of the property owner. You've probably seen this show before a couple times. If you could just advise whether or not you choose to waive the more formal quasi-judicial proceeding that you are entitled to after you state your name and address. Thank you.
Excuse me, my name is Rodney Crockett. I'm an architect. I'm with the Aaron's Companies. And I guess we waive the,
Go right ahead, sir.
so basically this is an existing business. Are you all familiar with where this is located? It's in a very heavily industrial area. There's a landfill that's close by. There's a huge body of water on one side. But it's very heavily industrial use around the area. It's an existing business that the owner would like to improve basically for the employees. If you go to the next slide, this is the existing site. Basically, there's an existing building, I believe the 1,900 square feet building that you said was new, it's actually an existing building. And we're gonna add another building to it, but basically this is the existing site that they use now. In this business, which is they create pallets and repair pallets and supply pallets for different companies. It's kind of a national company. And they employ, I think, like 33 people at this point. But basically trucks come in and out of the site. There's pallets kind of everywhere. It's kind of they just come in and try to make things work. So what we're trying to do here is clean the whole operation up. We're creating some new, if you can go to the next slide, I think it kind of outlines what we're trying to do. So you can see the picture of how they do things and how they work here with the pallets and all that, but we're creating new parking that complies with code, that has landscaping and that kind of thing that complies with code. We're creating a new way for trucks to come in and out of the site. We're creating a new way for people who are customers to come in and out of the site. We're creating logical place for trucks to come into docking so they can load the pallets and come, in and out of the site. We're going to create lighting for the whole site that's code compliant. The other thing that we've done too is work closely with the fire marshal to make sure that we have access in and out of the site and around pallets and that kind of thing for emergency situations. But basically what they have now is some shelters that have some makeshift areas for employees to have like their lunch and stuff like that. We want to make an improvement on that. They want to create the new building that they're going to do is basically an employee lounge with restrooms and lockers and that kind of thing. So if you go to the next slide, I think okay, here's the layout of the site plan. So if you remember seeing it before, there's really nothing there. It's just kind of an open area with that existing building that's right there in the middle. And then right below that's a smaller building. That's going to be the new building, which is the employee lounge area. You can see how we've created On the right side there, a new parking area and a way for the trucks to come in and out logically for loading and unloading. And then on the left side, we've created a way to efficiently stack the pallets and a way to get the emergency vehicles in and out of there if they need to. And then on the parking side, it's all new paved, so we've addressed the stormwater issue that they had there by creating, catch basins and things in the parking lot. And then all along the bottom of that, on the parking side, is a retention area that's been improved. We've done the same thing on the left side where the pallets are. We've addressed all the stormwater issues. And we've created or improved the retention area that's on the left side of the property. And if you go to the next slide. Yeah, this shows the way we're addressing the stormwater. The next slide. This just lists the items that we addressed, which I just explained on both properties. One property is 1811, the other's 1815. Next slide. We've also are addressing the landscaping. So there's really was none there at the point that we started, but now we've addressed the landscaping that's required for parking and for the entire site. So you can see what we've done here with the landscaping design. Next. These are some of the trees that we're using. I know these are some of the types of trees that comply with code. Next. And some of the ground cover and different things that we're using in the development of a landscape. Next. This is the photometrics for the lighting that we're doing, which, all complies with code. So it gives you the foot candle levels that we're proposing to use. Next. This is the existing building that I was telling you is up front. And what we're trying to do is clean this up. So we're going to paint it and make it look nicer. Next slide. And I was talking to you earlier about some of these makeshift like break areas and things. This is one of them in the upper left-hand corner. You can see there's tables outside and lockers and a couple refrigerators back there. So the owner wanted to really create something nicer for the employees instead of having them, deal with their lunch and things outside and that kind of thing. So these are some of the things they wanted to try to improve. Next slide. So we're going to introduce a new color scheme and make it look nicer, kind of clean everything up, providing an ADA accessible ramp for this building here. Next slide. In the upper right is this new lounge area for the employees. It's going to be, like a little break area with restrooms, which they don't have now, and then lockers and a small kitchenette. The building at the bottom is one of the shelters that they have where they work on pallets and things. They're going to increase the roof area of that to make it a little bit bigger and also create some walls on the side and kind of clean it up with, making it look nicer with the whole concept or scheme of the whole place. Next. This is the exterior of the new employee lounge. So it's going to have the same color scheme, just to make everything look nicer here. Next. These are some of the structures I was telling you about that they're going to try to clean up and improve and expand them a little bit to make more room for them to work under shelter. Next. These are some of the other shelters in the area that they are kind of makeshift things, but we're gonna try to clean all that up and make it much nicer. So this is the one shelter that we were talking about. We're gonna increase the roof area, increase the area under cover. And then on the ends, kind of clean it up and create some walls that kind of screen the area and have the same color scheme, so it all kind of fits together. Next. This is kind of a perspective view of the existing building there that we're gonna clean up. And another existing little storage building there, and then the shelters that are the covered area that we're gonna increase and to improve. These are some of the colors and things that we've proposed to use that we've gotten approval from by the appearance board. And I think that's about it. So basically, the owner wants to take what they have that's existing there and make it better, so that's basically what we're trying to do.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? Anyone online? I'm going to close it to the public. Vice Mayor Parnas.
You're on the north side of Sample Road but between 18th Avenue and Power Line?
I believe so, yes.
You're next to the medical building?
No, further.
The
don't-
medical building is 1801. This is 1815. How far can it be? Power line is just a block and a half to the light, or
Mhm.
2 blocks to the light.
You know the answer to that?
It's pretty far away.
So what you're telling me, it will not interfere with people getting to see their doctors? You don't
Oh,
share that
no.
parking
I
lot?
think it's away from that.
Okay,
It's
I
away
just
from
wanted
that.
to be sure because
Yeah.
I have a lot of constituents that use the doctors at 1801.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of far away from
Okay.
that. Yeah. Sorry.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Hudak, second from Commissioner Preston. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Item number, excuse me, item number 7 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the rankings and funding allocations to charitable and public purpose organizations for the Community Participation Grant Program in a total amount not to exceed $150,000, providing for implementation and an effective date.
City Manager, any comments?
Yes, Mayor, just that as part of the budget process, City Commission approved the funding for the program. This item is required per our resolution to come before you for approval of the funding amounts per each applicant that went through a competitive grant process that was evaluated by city staff. I'm happy to address any additional questions that the commission may have.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? We'll close it to the public.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Preston. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes.
Item number 8 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan, providing for implementation and an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a required public hearing. And this is a small amendment to the plan that was previously approved just recently by the commission. The amount of funding provided in the plan did change in some of the allocations based off of the funding that we received. And so we're required to bring that back before you. The backup indicates those allocations and amounts.
Is there anyone from the public care to comment on this item? No? Close it to the public. Commission.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion from Commissioner Preston, seconded by Vice Mayor Parnas. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes.
Item number 9 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, vacating and abandoning 3 utility easements located at 1345 through 1399 South Federal Highway connected to the King Hyundai Dealership Redevelopment Project, application number 23-A-200, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. This is first reading, and I believe we have a representative from Greenstone Martyr Firm on behalf of the applicant here to present on this item.
Honorable Commissioners, my name is Julian Babolev with Green Spoon Martyr on behalf of the applicant, and my address is 200 East Broward Boulevard. So we're requesting a few easement vacations for the King Auto Dealership site, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Next slide. So this is just an aerial showing where the subject property is on Federal Highway, and that there's a few other automobile dealerships just south of that. And here is just a close-up of the property, the way that it's developed currently. Next slide, please. So the reason why I'm sure you're all familiar with this item is because we were just before you a few months back in June 20th, where we got approval for the site plan to redevelop the site, as well as for a few sign variances. Since then, we've been hard at work applying for building permits, and we've already gotten permits and completed the first phase of remodeling the Hyundai dealership. And so now we need to vacate these easements in order to proceed and be able to pull the building permits. Next slide, please. So here's just a reminder of what we're doing with the site plan. So of course, we have the 3 existing dealerships on site, one of which has been vacant for a very long time, the Suzuki dealership. So the Hyundai dealership, we're essentially expanding a little bit, as well as modernizing it and redeveloping it. And then the Saturn and Mitsubishi dealership, which is to the north, we're demolishing entirely. We're replacing it with the Genesis dealership. Next slide, please. And so here, this is a very good exhibit because you can see the easements that we're proposing to vacate are highlighted in purple. As you can see, they're overlaid on top of the buildings that we're proposing per the site plan. So they have to go. Can't have a building on top of the easements. So we're proposing to vacate all of those easements, all of which are waterline easements, except for a 10 by 10 portion, which is, see if I can do this, which is just right. I guess this doesn't work on the screen, but it's on the western property line. You can kind of see where that purple horizontal easement stops. So we're keeping that for a fire water meter. The utilities department specifically requested that. Other than that, we are not replacing any of the easements. The utilities department has requested that the point of service be at the property line. So everything on site is going to be private, thus no need for easements. And of course, because the existing water lines are public right now, the city is going to be saving a little bit of money on the maintenance of those water lines. So that's good news for the city. Next slide. Oh, that's it. So I'm available for any questions. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you. City Clerk?
Pursuant to Ordinance 2009-006, City of Deerfield Beach Code of Ethics, the applicant's representative's firm, Green Spoon Martyr, made the following campaign contributions. Commissioner Michael Hudak, $500 on February 5th, 2019, and $500 on November 21st, 2022. Commissioner Ben Preston, $500 on February 9th, 2023. Vice Mayor Bernie Parnes, $500 on January 19th, 2021. And Commissioner Todd Drosky, $500 on December 23rd, 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? Close it to the public. Commission?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion from Commissioner or Vice Mayor Parnas, seconded by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Item number 10 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 90 floodplain management of the city's land development code to provide regulations for accessory structures in flood hazard areas, specify elevation of manufactured homes in flood hazard areas, and to provide for consistency with applicable building code and FEMA policy provisions, providing for codification, severability, conflicts, and an effective date. And this is second reading.
City manager, any comments?
No, Mayor, second reading. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? And we'll close it to the public. Commission,
Motion to approve. Second.
motion by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
We are now at the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes unless extended for 1 additional minute by the mayor. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on the agenda tonight. If you have a comment on an item that's on the agenda, the time to do that is after the agenda item is read into the record, and the public comment period for that item is no comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend ordinary persons or ordinary sensibilities shall be permitted.
Michael Lubin, 16 Little Harbor Way, Deerfield Beach. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. I was up here 2 weeks ago, thereabouts, and on Sunday, my wife and I were having brunch, and lo and behold, after 25 years, I hear one of my neighbors having chainsawing going on to trim frond trees, and it continued on for 2 hours. I think I found out, which was interesting to me, that there is permitted commercial professional landscaping in the city of Deerfield on a Sunday. That was new to me, but what I'm asking for is to have 1 day of peace and quiet from commercial landscaping. I know you cannot have any construction noise on a Sunday, but you can have it on commercial landscaping from 9 to 7 o'clock. That includes chainsawing, that includes leaf blowing, that includes lawn mowing, which is as loud as any kind of construction noise around as well. It sounds like a jet port that you near when the time they do their major lawn blowing and chainsawing. And I think the city of Deerfield Beach could do better. We don't have to follow what other cities do. We are unique. We're a wonderful city, but I think the residents can deserve 1 day of peace and quiet from lawn service or construction noise. And it's a quality of life issue here. I don't think that's asking a whole lot. If you can't do it in 6 days, then something's wrong somewhere. We're talking commercial, professional landscaping, not from in a residential area only. The HOAs deal with that completely different. In the village, I'm sure they don't have that, Vice Mayor Inez, because if they did, they'd probably tar and feather you and ask you to leave the community. But things are different in non-HOA areas where we are governed by city ordinance. So I'm asking you to please think about it, talk it over, give the residents a little bit of peace and quiet. I have another, oh, I'm so good. A little bit of peace and quiet, and quality time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Daniel Shinetsky, 34 Keswick B, Century Village, Deerfield Beach, Florida, 33442. This summer, so there were a lot of disasters, as you know, we've been looking at the news. It was fire, flooding, earthquake, volcanoes in California and in Hawaii. And the American Red Cross were lifesavers to help out the people in these emergencies. I want to point out that Deerfield Beach just opened at the beginning of the summer a brand new American Red Cross hub. This American Red Cross hub, it's 8,000 square feet, and it's updated, centralized disaster relief warehouse, and it's located right here in Deerfield Beach. They closed the other warehouse in Riviera Beach, Hialeah. So now we have it here in Deerfield Beach. It's located at 4100 North Power Line Road. I actually went there and I checked it out. All items housed here are intended for emergencies within a drive radius of 2 hours in South Florida, and that encompasses Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Martin, Okeechobee, St. Lucie, Indian River, Monroe, and Lee County. So this hub here in Deerfield Beach services all those areas. Now, this hub is loading and unloading trailers to strategic places around this coverage area that I said. They give out different types and distribute different types of Red Cross disaster relief kits and nursing kits for both nurses and paramedics, and they assist Deerfield Beach's EMS, fire department, police, and even our government. And it's not only natural disasters that the American Red Cross services and assists, but also disasters such as when they had the tragedy at Parkland High School and the incident at Fort Lauderdale Airport. The American Red Cross was there to assist. Now, inside this warehouse at 4100 Powerline, they respond to disaster and they can actually serve 1,000 meals a day. So that's something that would definitely assist the people in South Florida. And again, the Red Cross respond to disaster and humanitarian relief. And I just want to say it's a great honor that Deerfield Beach is hosting the American Red Cross. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? Anyone online? Okay.
Paula Cook, 62 Centennial Court, Deerfield Beach. Is now when I should talk about, because had some comments about number 16.
No, numbers, when we get to number 16 is when you talk about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? I'm gonna close it to the public then. Vice Mayor, and then you wanted to.
Yes, sir, do you see this badge? When I took office, it says that I will uphold the laws of Florida. If I didn't, the people of Century Village wouldn't have reelected me. I uphold the law, every law. I don't like being wakened up on a Sunday when the lawnmowers, electric lawnmowers are out in the village, but under the law, they're allowed. And if they are allowed, I will uphold that law with every ounce of energy I have. And every other law, that we live in a civilized society of laws. And you're telling me they're tar and feather me for upholding the law? Where do you live? Not in my community.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I don't think there's anything else to address on that. Mr. Lubin, as I told you before the meeting, I disagree with doing that for Sunday. Primarily because I'm not going to enforce a rule that's going to benefit really, and you're the only person that I know that's brought this up, but it's going to benefit your neighborhood, which I said, I suggest you get an HOA if you want to control that. You can't do a blanket rule that's going to apply to the entire city of Deerfield Beach when you have people that don't have the ability to do the work themselves, but want to be there to witness it being done. And to limit it to one day for them on a weekend is not the right thing to do. I don't agree with your proposal because whether it's professional or not, the amateurs that go out and do this are going to be able to use those same tools, but you don't want the professionals to do it. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I disagree with it. So it's not something that I would consider moving forward on. That's my 2 cents on that. Next item.
Items 11 through 13 are currently on consent.
Are there any polls from the public to speak on any items between 11, 12, or 13? Anyone online? Commission, any polls 11, 12, or 13?
Motion to approve.
Hold on.
Okay.
11, 12, or 13, just making sure. Okay. So it can be done all together. So you want to make a motion to approve 11, 12,
11,
and 13?
12, and 13.
Okay. Motion by the Vice Mayor. Second by Commissioner Hudak. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak, Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 14 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, authorizing the submission of the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Program loan application, approving and authorizing execution of the loan agreement for a loan in the amount of $6,158,816 establishing revenues pledged for the repayment of the loan, providing for implementation, conflict, severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Mayor, this item is, we've seen this before, just in a different amount. And in the first cycle of the state revolving loan that we're seeking here today, we were awarded an amount of, I believe, 1.9 million. And during that time when we got that award, they indicated that we should apply the next cycle around, and it would be very likely that we get the full amount that we were requested originally. So we have been awarded that amount, and the project that this funds is the first reclaimed water line trunk that the city of Deerfield Beach will have, and it's being installed as part of the Southwest 10th Street project. FDOT has agreed to fund 50% of that project, as we indicated prior. The total cost of the project is just over $11 million. And the city will be taking out a loan to cover 50% of that cost. It's a very, very low interest loan. The interest for the entire loan, I believe, is somewhere in the range of $74,000 to $78,000 for the amount that we're taking out. So staff is recommending approval of this item.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? Okay, we'll close it to the public. Commissioner Drosky.
It's funny, I was at a meeting last night at Independence Bay regarding the Southwest 10th Street project. And it was a full audience because they were discussing whether or not to have a sound wall as part of the project. Trust me, I'm getting to this item. And there was a lot of discussion, some new faces that were there about this project and what's happening and where we've come. And we all may recall, what this project, it was an elevated highway at the beginning and different alignments. And so the reason I'm saying all of that is, we have made progress with FDOT over the years in watering down the project. That's my terminology, making it more friendly to the city of Deerfield Beach. And while I would have liked FDOT to have paid the entire cost of this project, they are agreeing to pay 50%, which they are not obligated to do. So the 50% is a win, and which I was telling the residents last night is this is one example of the win that we're getting as part of this project. It may not be everything that we want, but nobody gets everything that they want. So this is just another example of the city and the commission fighting for the residents of Deerfield Beach.
Thank you. Like to make a motion?
I guess it's a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, second. Motion from Commissioner Drosky, seconded by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas,
No.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 15 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending Article 2, Noise Control of Chapter 34, Environment of the City Code of Ordinances to provide regulations relating to emergency backup generators, providing for a codification, severability, conflicts, and effective date. This is first reading.
City Manager?
I believe Mr. Power is going to come up and give a brief presentation on this.
Are aware of that?
Yes, he is.
Eric Power, Director of Plan Balances, Services, City of Deerfield Beach. Sorry. So a few months ago, I brought a presentation forward to you in relation to generator noise and construction noise. Staff did a considerable amount of work in comparison to other cities within Broward County, as well as some of our partnering cities in Boca Raton, areas like that. At that time, the suggestion that was brought forward was that we would not make changes to commercial noise or times, but that we would look at making some changes to generator
and generator hours of operation. Essentially, what we're asking for tonight is a very simple code amendment, which goes to our exemptions portion of noise that says the generators are not permitted to be used unless there are times of emergency or for testing. And so it's in the exemptions section because that's the only time that it's permitted, right? So in that regard, you can use a generator for operational purposes for 30 minutes once a week, just for testing purposes. And then during an emergency, you're allowed to use a generator as long as it is, a power outage or truly an emergency situation. And then there is a maximum noise regulation as well related to that, which is the highest density that the city has. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Is there anyone from the public who would care to comment on this item? Close it to the public. Thank you, Mr. Power. Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Preston. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
We are now at comments by administration and legal. No comments from legal tonight.
Just one this evening. I do want to let the commission and the public know that tomorrow, city staff and will be participating in the 27th annual Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day, which is tomorrow, and we'll be doing that at Deerfield Beach Elementary School at 7:30 a.m. I want to thank the staff who are participating in that, and welcome the commission to attend if they're available. Thank you.
We are now at city commission business. Item number 16 is an ordinance of the city commission of the city of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending chapter 38, finance and taxation, article 7, taxes by amending section 38-244, additional homestead exemption for persons 65 and older of the city code of ordinances to increase the additional senior homestead exemption from 25,000 to 50,000 and provide for additional long-term residency senior homestead exemption in the amount of the assessed value of the property for certain persons 65 and older who meet certain residency income and other statutory requirements, providing for conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date. This is first reading. This ordinance was prepared at the previous direction of the commission who requested this. And I just want to point out with respect to the second exemption, the additional long-term residency senior homestead exemption per state law, that in order to pass will require a 4/5 vote on second reading.
Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go through the effects of what this ordinance would do for the seniors and also for the city. So first, what does the reduction in taxable value look like? It's approximately $18.7 million on the long-term and the additional 25,000 exemption, which would take us to the 50,000 exemption. If the city adopted just the $50,000 exemption, the reduction in taxable value to the city would be approximately 18.2 million. And if the city just adopted the long-term exemption, it would be an approximate $1.2 million reduction in taxable value. The reduction in overall revenues in the same order that I just gave is estimated to be approximately $112,541, $109,542, or $7,351. There are currently approximately 1,989 seniors eligible for the additional 50,000 exemption and approximately 220 eligible for the long-term exemption.
Thank you. Open to the public. Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? That would be you, Ms. Cook.
Yes, Paula Cook, 62 Centennial Court, Deerfield Beach. I'm opposed to this. I do not live in a age-restricted area. They're just working people, normal people. I know that as a matter of principle, I would like to think we're all in this together. Now, I know that in times past, okay, policemen, firefighters, other people who have hurt themselves, giving to the community, doing their jobs, and they've gotten an exemption from taxation, and I can see that. But essentially, what they're asking for now is just because you get old. That's it, just because you get old. So we all do that. And I think everyone really should have some skin in the game, even if it's just a little bit of taxes. So they know they're still here and that they don't just decide, well, we'll approve everything because we're not paying for it. I live in a community, it's not age restricted, and I went to a meeting last night and they're all up in arms, telling our board, you know, you got to cut, you got to cut. I mean, our board came back with something like, oh, it's only going to cost you $14, but that was, and then there was another $14 and then another $30. So people are hurting, all of them. And when I think about this, I was wondering who's going to make up for this loss in revenue? For last two meetings, you've told us that you can't change the millage. You can't lower it unless you come up with a new revenue stream or cut some services. Well, what are you going to do? Because you're going to lose revenue. Maybe it's only a little bit now, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future. More people are going to get older. People are going to die. That's just a fact. They're going to die off too. But, you know, they really, you can't like just keep enlarging the largesse of the government all the time. And I really would not like to see it pushed off on the rest of the voters because we will be very mad. You know, it's just another little thing. It's another little $14, another little $30, and it adds up. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public? Ms. Freitag?
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast Second Street. I am also against this new tax relief. I don't think that the seniors that have come to Florida have come here without a penny in their pocket. They came here for a reason because of the way of life that we have here. Again, as the resident just mentioned, if we don't have their income stream, yet we have twice to 3 times the number of fire rescue calls to residents who are above the age of 70, 75, even 80. What does that do for our income in our city? As she mentioned also, we said we couldn't lower the millage rate. We couldn't adjust anything. We need to figure out how we're going to get along without services if we do that. Now you're turning around and taking more money away from our city and putting all of the pressure on those of us that are a little bit younger that are paying, again, the extra $30 a month, the extra $40 a month for all the different taxes and all the different fees currently. I definitely think that if they were to separate these two items, and if a resident has lived in the city of Deerfield Beach for 25 or more years at the exact residence that they are homesteading in, then we could look at maybe helping those ones out. But for anybody else who's just moving here, just giving them a break because they're older is not a good reason for us to start with, for us to increase this tax exemption. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public on this item? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Karen Shelley, 190 Durham D.
Speak up, please.
Karen Shelley, 190 Durham D. I wasn't prepared to speak tonight, but I've been a condo manager for 15 years. I've managed in HOAs. And what I learned very early on was there are a lot of people that need assistance, and you don't know what is going on behind closed doors, what their financial situations are. I understand there are other towns that have the 50,000, and I am supportive of this for Deerfield Beach. I think if we can't take care of our vulnerable seniors and others in our community, I just think we can do it. And again, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to speak, but I feel strongly that this is a very good proposal.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Anyone else from the public? There seems to be some confusion of who this applies to. We have 80,000 people in the city of Deerfield Beach. And this only applies to 1,989. That's not a full representative of all our seniors. For the long term, it's 220 out of 80,000. Seriously? Have you read the ordinance to see what it says? I don't understand the pushback on this because I think there seems to be some confusion. You just think because they're above 65 that they get this. That's not the case. There's a criteria you have to meet. Long-term, it's 25 years residence, correct?
That is for the complete exemption of the property value. That is 25, correct. There are income limitations, to your point, Mayor, for both of these exemptions.
Can you tell us what those are? Because there seems to be some confusion.
Sure, for both of these exemptions in the statute, the person's household income cannot exceed $20,000, which is an adjusted $20,000 based on the CPI. I don't know what that current amount it is yet, but it is more than 20,000. But essentially, there is a household income limitation that you must meet in order to qualify for either one of these exemptions. Additionally, you need to be the permanent resident of owner of the property. You need to have legal or equitable title to the property. And then to the mayor's point that to get the full tax exemption that was mentioned, the second exemption that requires the 4/5 vote, you need to have lived there for 25 years and the property value cannot exceed $250,000.
That's clearly targeting people who are in dire need, not just because you're old or older, because I don't think 65 is old. And this is a small amount, and it's not going to go up because the criteria is extremely difficult. Say people moving in from other states are coming in here and they're going to get this, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't apply. Clearly, I think there's a misunderstanding of what this rule applies to. The total revenue hit on this, Mr. Santucci, again, for clarity?
The amount of lost revenue to the city under both of these exemptions would be approximately $112,000.
Maximum. And our budget is how much?
The full budget for fiscal year 24 is approximately 340 million.
Okay. I think we can do this and it's not going to hurt us. It's not going to put pressure on the residents. They're not going to be angry. I think more people are going to be upset that we're not doing all we can for the people who are in the most dire need in our city. And if we have a problem doing that, then I think we need to look in the mirror, in my opinion. So I'm fully supportive of this. Vice Mayor Parnas?
Even if I were to retire from the commission, which will happen in about a year and a half, my income is such that I couldn't qualify, and I've lived here for over 30 years. And by the time I retire, I'll be 88 years old. Be living on Social Security, and I believe my pension from the city will be something like $40 a month. So that doesn't apply to me. But I do know seniors that are in dire straits. I have one building in Century Village where every unit owner, regardless of age or income, was assessed $5,000 because the insurance rates went up. My building is $1,300 an apartment, which we were assessed. And I know seniors in my building that are struggling to pay it. I don't want to see people put in the street. They've lived here for 25 years and make under $20,000 a year. this is peanuts for the city to bail them out. A little bit. On one type of tax. How cruel are we gonna be? Throw them in the street? Let them live in the trees by the lake that the police clean out every so often? The squatters? I'm not that cruel. With that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Third.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Preston, a third if we need it from Vice Mayor or from Commissioner Hudak. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas,
Emphatically, yes.
Mayor Gans.
You are now at comments by mayor and city commission.
District one.
The only real comment I have is really based on the last item that we talked about. It's important that when you want to comment on an item, please educate yourself on it. It really helps the process. You know, we're here to listen to all of our residents. And we do that. And we take your opinions very seriously because again, we represent you. But when you misrepresent an item or you're not educated on an item, it just, you know, it flies in the face of what we're all trying to do here in the city. So I encourage our residents to show up for our meetings. I encourage you to listen to us on Zoom, but I also encourage you to educate yourself on the items. And I don't mean by going to Facebook or Nextdoor. I mean by actually reading the backup. We provide it. And I think it's important that, you know, when you provide an opinion, that it's an educated opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. District two.
Thank you, Mayor. Oftentimes, you know, the public is unaware of all the positive things that happen in our community as it relates to our city staff, BSO. And if there is an issue sometime that causes some measure of media attention, then that's when we kind of know what's going on. But I will tell you, there is many projects in our city. And I'd like to thank city staff and BSO for Junior Anglers Day. If you had come over there, you would have saw something that's very nice. All of the participants, residents of the kids that was out there, it was such a positive thing. Here's what I heard. We need to do this twice a year. I mean, that's how positive it was. You saw our city staff who did an incredible job. I'd like to thank the city manager, Liz Ritchie. I tell you, it was incredible. It was pretty awesome. BSO interacting, a part of the process that was over there. It was a good thing. Junior Anglers Day. It's one of the bigger events that we have. And it was just, I think we had like 3 or 4 sessions.
It's sold out.
Yeah.
Completely sold out.
It was sold out. There you go. And the people that when they would announce that their time of fishing was over, they didn't want to leave. And just to see, you know, a mom or a dad there with their kid, you know, helping them fish, just going through and not really knowing much about it, but being assisted by the volunteers, it was just nice to watch. And I saw a lot of interaction of BSO being a part of that process. It was just really a good thing. I'd also like to thank Will Park. He's works in Parks and Recs, and he's doing a great job with the volleyball. If you've been watching the paper, you know, one of the things that I wanted was to get a girl volleyball team involved in our rec program that was established. And he has done such a great job, enough that they've been very competitive, and he's been in the newspaper with these kids. He's doing a good job directing these kids. So I'd like to thank Will Park. I'd like to thank Parks and Recs for, you know, just paying attention to the volleyball program. I invited, it was short notice, but I invited our rec volleyball team, because they were doing so good, to come down and see a competitive match between Cardinal Gibbons High School and St. Thomas. the city of Deerfield Beach was able to put that together. And it was a positive thing. I had talked to the city manager. He's, you know, it was such short notice. He said, let's just see what we can do. They was able to take those kids. You should have seen the look on those kids' faces, those little girls watching those older girls dreaming. And here's the big thing with it is in volleyball, the reason that I push it so much, there's money in volleyball. A lot of scholarships, but a lot of people don't know that. But those girls came out and watched a competitive match, and it was really good. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Liz Ritchie, Will Polk, again, great job. The other thing is, for me, is that the city commission gave the city manager permission for we were going to acknowledge Bernard Adams at Public Works. It was my understanding, as was the family, that when we do that, it was for the facility over at Public Works to acknowledge him. But for whatever the reason is there was some kind of maybe a misunderstanding. But unless the commission says different, it was my feeling, as was the family, that the facility over there would be named for him. And so I'm just letting you know that there was an issue with that.
Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Just so, yeah, and as I look back at the minutes, the discussion regarding Mr. Bernard Adams was to name the Public Works building after him. And so over at the Central City campus houses two buildings, Building A and Building B. And so the discussions internally were to start to have, which building to name after him. And so, yes, Commissioner Preston did approach me and did say, hey, I think there is some misunderstanding, as he did state. And so I appreciate Commissioner Preston bringing that up. And if there is any clarification or direct, other direction from the commission, we're more than happy to move in that direction. But again, I just appreciate you bringing that up for clarity. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's it. District 3.
Tallahassee passed the law recently that if you voted by mail after the last election, you were automatically dropped from the voter rolls. You must request an absentee ballot every year. That's why we're here every Friday morning, 9 to 12, helping people fill out a form. They take it with them. They can mail it. They can take it home and go on their computer. They can use the phone. We steer them in the right direction. We don't ask them who they're voting for. It's non-political. We're not interested. Just interested in protecting your right to vote. The most precious thing in our Constitution. What makes America. So we're here every Friday. You can stop by. We'll give you the form. Take it home if you like. Want filling it out, we'll help you fill it out. Drop it in the mail, it's postage free, and make sure you're eligible to vote. It's very important. Your voice counts. They had an election today in the Congress, in the House. They decided to change leader of the House. They voted McCarthy out. Be a new one, election soon. That's what makes America. It's in the law that they could. And they did. They took a vote. The whole House of Representatives voted. And they voted. We want a new leader. That's what makes this country great. So come and see us on a Friday morning. We'll be happy to help check to make sure you can vote whenever the next election is. Thank you.
Thank you. District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. I only have 2 items tonight. The first one was this past Sunday was the Dunn's Run. So I want to appreciate everyone coming out for that. It was nice to meet new city staff that I had never met before. So it was good to see people there with their families bright and early in the morning. So I want to appreciate, the city for organizing a team and having folks come out early in the morning, because that's sometimes the only opportunity that we as the commission have to interact with staff. There's certain department heads that we see at these meetings and other individuals that we may run into at City Hall from time to time, but the majority of the staff, we don't get to see on a day-to-day or regular basis. So it was good to have that opportunity this past Sunday and meet some of the men and women that I don't get to see on a daily basis. The other thing is I want to have another shout out to staff and to the commission on the community participation grants that we had earlier tonight. This was the first year that it went smooth, and I think this was the process that we all envisioned years ago. Could we have tinkered with the numbers? Sure. But I think staff did such a great job vetting the applications, ranking them, and coming up with dollar amounts that they did the heavy lifting, which is what we, envisioned all along. So I want to thank my colleagues for not getting into the weeds on that debate, because we certainly have in the past. I think tonight was the night in the process that we've all envisioned this going. So I just want to say thank you to staff for one, doing the heavy lifting and vetting it. And second, thank you to my colleagues for going along with it. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm glad you brought it up later instead in the middle of that case. It would have taken us all down a bad path. I do want to thank Commissioner Preston for not bragging about the giant fish that he caught at Junior Angler Day. I will never hear the end of it. It's one of the best Photoshop jobs I've seen in a long time. And for that. He has a right to brag. It was a heck of a fish. Very impressive. As far as the renaming, I'm glad we're working that out as far as the Adams, Bernard Adams having that renamed that. I'm glad we're getting that worked out. That sounds good. We need to reach out to Nora Rupert to work with her on the pool so we can get that moving with the renaming that we want to do with that for former Mayor Nolan. We are continuing to have lights out along Hillsborough leading towards the beach. If we could make sure that we're working on that, to make sure that is taken care of. Also our swell maintenance, and Dave, I know you and I looked at it, talked about it, but we need to make sure, especially out in the west portion of the city by the Deerfield Mall, that needs to be taken care of. I'm going to encourage BSO to work again with Coconut Creek to do a joint partnership enforcement for speeding along Hillsborough, because it is still a major issue. And speaking of public safety, our public safety night is this Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. at Quiet Waters Park. So I encourage everybody to come out. I do want to thank BSO, Sheriff Tony, and everybody for, that nice presentation we did for those officers tonight. And that's an outstanding job that they do. And it's a wonderful approach, and it's a great program. So thank you so much for that. That's really impressive that you do with that with BSO, and give the sheriff our best on that. Thank you. I think that's all I have right now.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.